Hi, my name is Jackie James, and this is my project 2 Correlated Rotations, a political take on Dan Graham's conceptual art piece of the same name. Now, what I'm going to do for this video is just briefly go over kind of where it came from and the challenges that I faced, and then go over the project itself. Now, Dan Graham's piece was really it was a couple of photographers who were taking pictures of each other as they went around in a circle, and when people looked at it, they kind of got a weird view because they weren't quite sure what was going on. So really the project was just about how the video itself was made, or the images themselves were made, and that's kind of what I really took from this, and also the idea of just taking pictures, which in our day and age kind of means selfies. Now, I didn't want to go through the obvious comparison to Photoshop, so I really thought about kind of how we perceive ourselves, and I came to the idea of social media. And of course, social media is rife with all sorts of commentary, particularly political commentary. And as an independent, I thought it would be kind of interesting to look at the circular logic that that I view people of all different persuasions and how they employ it, including myself, because we're all kind of guilty of it. We're all hypocrites at some point. So the challenges here are that originally this was going to be some sort of bot, and that did not work out. Basically, I couldn't figure out how to narrow it down to a conceptual internet search, which is what I really needed to be able to do. I also ran up against political bias, and that people they didn't quite connect what it was that I was saying, because what they see instantaneously is their own political opinions. So trying to get through that in a way through design so that people could understand what I was saying was difficult. In the end project, I ended up having to use jQuery and some JavaScript, which I've never used before. I actually had two pieces of this. The second part is fully built, but I can't put them in the same document for some reason. When I add one or the other at the bottom of the HTML file, they cancel each other out, and I couldn't figure out how to get it back for them to both run at the same time. So it was a little bit slow going and using these two, or I guess really one and extension, but it wasn't that bad. Actually, the divs gave me a bigger hassle. They wouldn't move on the page. I couldn't even get it to change colors or anything. It was the weirdest thing, and it took me about 45 minutes just to get a div to move. It just all of a sudden started working. And then I also had some interesting web hosting troubles. Things I learned. I learned that you can do pattern fills on Photoshop, which is pretty awesome. I'd never done that before, and I just kind of ran across it, so that was cool. Obviously, I learned about JavaScript and jQuery. I got a refresher course through FTPs and getting around WordPress limitations, because my website uses WordPress, and I've used FTPs to get, or the FileZilla really, to get around certain things before, so that was fun. And then XSplit has gotten a really nice upgrade. I wish it had been like that when I was using it. So this is the final thing. The way that it works is that you can click on each one of these things. There was originally controls down here, but I got rid of that because I want it to be that you're clicking through this cycle. And obviously these things are color coded. So when you click on these other ones, they are the direct opposite of what the other person is saying on the other side of the aisle. The only one that's a little bit different is these two, which are just news stories, because I felt like they conveyed the idea here better than any tweets that I could find on the subject. Down here, I don't like the design, but I felt like after I ran this by a couple of people that I really needed to kind of hammer it home. To me, it's kind of hitting and bashing people over the head with it, but this was a really good quote on one of the many political forums that I browsed through. And you'll notice here also the Star Wars quote. I'm actually going to be seeing Star Wars in a few hours, so it kind of ties in pretty well, but that wasn't the reason. This actually turned out to be the best representation of what I was aiming for. But that about wraps up my project. So I hope you have a nice holiday, and hopefully see you next semester sometime.